Hi beautiful souls, this is SoulStar aka Nini. Welcome back to my channel. I appreciate you guys so much. If you've seen my most recent videos, I have had a break for the last 3 weeks off of here because I've been navigating some really dark, low energies, and it's just been a lot, and I know I'm not the only person who's dealing with that. I know so many of us divine feminines are also going through the same thing, and we're navigating so many low vibrations and tower moments, and having a lot of tests recently. And for some of us, we're able to transmute those negative energies into positive vibrations very quickly, and for some of us, we've convinced ourselves that we've done so much work that we don't need to do anymore, but then we've still been resisting certain things, and so we've been getting triggered a lot recently. Stuff coming up again and again and again because it's stuff we still haven't fully healed. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to not be in a low vibration right now. Obviously I am doing a reading for the Divine Feminine Collectives who are on that wavelength of navigating through a lot of low vibrational energies, because not every twin flame is on the same journey. There are some twin flames who are just gotten into union, or have just reunited, or are both in super high vibrations and they're in complete unconditional love and are just so focused on their own stuff, which we need to be more and more focused on our own selves every single time, every single day, every single hour. Because this whole journey is about self-love, self-discovery, self-healing, self-worth. So I've been guided to do this reading for the Divine Feminines. Now I've just done some readings for the Divine Masculines, and I don't know if it's because of everything I've been going through or where I'm at personally in my own twin flame journey, but on top of a lot of heaviness and darkness I've been dealing with in my 3D life, I've been attracting the soul groups of twins or divine counterparts who have been struggling a lot. So I have just done a reading on the Divine Masculines. I think there's like 3 parts to that, and the masculines I was channeling are definitely going through some massive changes, tower moments, resisting. They're just cutting off so much bullshit, and I feel like the feminines are starting to get to that point as well for the feminines that I'm obviously channeling now. It goes without saying this is a general reading, so I'm collecting so much energy from so many different soul groups all at once. So if what I say doesn't resonate with you, then that's completely fine. You can either find another reader who is picking up on your soul group, or actually get a private reading where it will just be channeled specifically for you from your higher self, from the spirit realms. And I wanted to start off with the actual life purpose cards, because I feel like we really need some inspiration, because the energy in here is very low looking at these cards. And I'm sorry if I am gonna cry. The energies I'm feeling for some of you feminines, I can really feel your struggles so much, and I just want to hug all of you. But I just want to give a reminder to everyone that no matter how dark the times get, and no matter how lonely and in despair you feel, always remind yourself that you're going through all this hurt in order to learn from it, overcome it, and allow all the abundance and happiness in, because you always have to learn and appreciate the dark before you can have the light. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to appreciate it. And one of the greatest things I keep hearing even more every single day, especially in the last week, has been just expressing more gratitude for every single thing you have. The fact that you're even sitting and breathing right now, the fact that you're able to hear me and see me on this video, on your phone or on the laptop or on your TV, through the internet, the fact that you've got clothes on your back, the fact that you've hopefully, fingers crossed, eaten today and have had water and you're breathing fresh air, and even down to, I was sitting on the steps outside about half an hour ago, and I've been trying to transmute some heavy energies all day, and I was sitting there and I was looking at the lake in front of me, and I saw all the trees blowing in the wind, and I was like, wow, I appreciate this so much. I appreciate the fact I have limbs that work so I can walk down the stairs to go down to the canal. I am so grateful that I can see how beautiful this green is on these leaves, on these trees, and the fact that I'm able to see these beautiful colors. I'm so grateful that there's so much wind and sunshine, and I've got food in my lap, and I have a really nice home behind me, and I am still alive another day, which is another chance for me to continue bettering myself. So I just really want to remind everyone to just be more grateful for every single thing you have. Sometimes we get so caught up in all of these thoughts, all of this stress of this 3D illusion, and it's like we'll spend ages being focused on stuff that really, at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. Like, if you ended up in a car accident, touch wood, and I say car accident because Miss Melanin Reigns, I just watched her, and she's literally just had a car accident, and I'm so grateful that she's alive and that she's okay, but she's in so much pain. And she's just talking about the gratefulness once again, and she was like, I show gratitude every single day, and every time I say it, I mean it, which is just like how I do. But you have these experiences where it just takes it to a whole other level. And when I was listening to her, and trust me, I'm getting to a point, because of these cards I've pulled for you, Divine Feminines, this is why I'm saying this first. It reminded me of last year, and I basically witnessed a beautiful soul, divine feminine or divine masculine, I don't know which energy she was pulling out. I witnessed a beautiful soul die in front of me. Sorry, I don't want to, I can't even say her name right now because I think I'm just going to burst out crying, but... And I've witnessed many people die in front of me before, not that that makes it any different, but it was... the way that it happened, I was going through a very, very intense spiritual awakening. I was stressed. My depression was at such a low. I was overthinking every single thing. I was self-sabotaging so much of my own healing journey because I was only focused on healing certain aspects of myself, thinking that everything else would just fall into place, which I feel like so many of the feminines have been doing that. Where you've been overthinking on only one or two certain aspects of what you need to work on, and then telling yourselves that, oh, okay, this person has to do everything else because I've done this and I've done that, and it's been killing you and it's been stressing you out, and you've just been going through all these cycles of just dark lowness, waking up feeling absolute shit. And I mean, like, not wanting to get out of bed, not even wanting to look in the mirror, just feeling completely and utterly down and drained, and then going back and forth in your head and reliving all these memories, reliving so many of these arguments, so many he said, she said situations, not just about your twin flame, but about so many other toxic situations you've dealt with. It's like there's certain inner child wounds that you've still resisted healing because you haven't wanted to think about it, and you've told yourself you're over it. So many of those issues that have just been tormenting you, Now, granted, this is a better card because it means you're coming to that completion, because this is the Divine Feminine's headspace. But I'm bringing up all these stories because I was in this space heavily last year. I hadn't gotten to that stage where I had completed that cycle yet. And I was already, I was in union with my twin flame, SoulDeep. I love you so much. You're the love of my life. And I can always... I've always been able to tell when somebody's going to die, that I know, physically in the 3D, that I'm consciously aware of, that I'm connected to. Even though we're all one soul, we're all one. But, my stepdad, my grandma, I knew. I saw visions, they came and visited me, I knew. Never have I witnessed a stranger dying in front of me, and I was in this space, or it was more like the Nine of Swords actually space, heavily, unable to sleep, overthinking every single thing, crying every single day, only focused on one or two aspects of my inner child wounds that I thought I needed to heal, and I just kept reliving every single horrific thing for months on end, and ignoring every single other thing. My twin flame SoulDeep, honestly, God bless you, Divine has blessed you and me. I am so grateful for how much support I was shown, and how much care and nurturing, and even with that, I tried to show so much appreciation for that, because I knew how difficult it was to be in a relationship with me when my depression is so bad, and when I'm healing all these wounds, and when I was being so codependent on my twin flame at the time. But it's like I just didn't show enough appreciation to that point. And then the universe just put me in a certain place at a certain time to wake me up. And literally near mine and my twin flames, because we used to work at the same place, near our workplace. And I'd actually only been in the area because I think I was going to meet them, or I was trying to meet them, or something like that. I think I was trying to meet them that day, but the miscommunication was a bit off because of our schedules. And oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm remembering it now properly. I was walking up towards the place where I knew that they would be. And as I was walking up, I hear a car swerve round, and it's the loudest sound I have ever heard, because it's just so ingrained in my brain. And I hear this car swerve round, and I hear a bang and a splat and all of this commotion, and instantly, I had no idea what had happened consciously, but my heart straight away was like, something's wrong. And I literally just turned around and I legged it round the corner, because it was like my heart, my soul, it was just guiding me to wherever this commotion was, so I could just try and heal or support or something. And this beautiful woman was just she had been pretty much thrown off her motorbike onto the other side of the road, and was just lying there like a doll. And me and loads of other people gathered around her. We didn't touch her because we didn't want to mess anything up. It looked like she had some... I swear, for a split second I saw her consciousness awake for a split second. I know I did, but I don't know if that was just me seeing her soul or if it was her physical body. But without going into too much detail, her head was just and there was just blood everywhere, all over the ground. And I was talking to her and praying for her and trying to get her soul to hear me. And then her boyfriend was, which I didn't even see her boyfriend at the start, because I was only focused on her, because I only saw one person on the ground, and it was like, please don't die on me, like, please just wait for the ambulance. And then I noticed her boyfriend, who was at the front of the motorbike, and because he was at the front, he didn't fly off, because they basically banged into a taxi that was coming around the corner. So then I started going back and forth, and I was comforting her boyfriend, who was just in complete and utter shock. And he was talking about how everything happened so fast, and 1 minute they're driving home ready to go and have a takeaway, and the next minute she's lying on the ground and she's not talking. And unfortunately she died right there. And I remember comforting him with two other girls, and one was really, really quiet, and she was just caressing him, and the other one was freaking out, and she was just like, I've never seen a dead body before, and but no, she wasn't doing it so much in front of him. Like, she would turn around and say stuff to me, or when we had to do the interviews with the police afterwards, she was just freaking out and was just like, I've never seen a dead body before. I don't know if I've done and said the right things. And I was just praying with him, and he was saying, you know, I've been with this girl for like 6-7 years. She's the love of my life. We're supposed to be growing old together and getting a house, and now she's gone. And he was just in complete shock. And it was like one of those horrific, over the top, just heartbreaking experiences that, and I know it happens every single day. The amount of people that die all the time. Like, even the thought of how many people are dying right now as I'm speaking, as you're watching this video, when I think about it and I feel it, it literally just, it makes me feel so sick. I know it's part of nature, but it's also just completely and utterly heartbreaking. But I know I was placed in that position for a reason, because it was a very random day. I wasn't supposed to be there. I wasn't supposed to be going to try and see my twin flame SoulDeep on that day and time. We usually would see each other 4 or 5 days a week. I wasn't supposed to be there at that day and time. There was nothing planned. But obviously God's plan, Divine's plan, wanted me there so I would witness this, so I would be there, so I could try and heal, so I could try and help, so I could try and support, so I could also get my own life put into a different perspective. Because from that day, I started showing so much more appreciation for life. I was in complete shock and despair for probably about 2 weeks. I couldn't get up. I couldn't do anything. But my twin flame SoulDeep, the love of my life, they showed me so much support, more than I could even imagine. I have never felt such genuine, deep love and nurturing and affection and support from another person ever. And it was just like, I saw my twin in their most authentic, light working, healing light, and it was just like, you really are my angel. And I always take myself back to that moment, because every time I'm feeling so overwhelmed, or I'm going through reliving every single moment, and if I'd have done this and things would have worked out differently, and how could they do this, and blah 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 blah, and I don't feel good enough for anything or anyone. Every time I'm going through these energies, I really just try and remind myself to be as grateful as I possibly can be, because literally this whole illusion that we're in, it's just that, it's just an illusion. And without even asking for it sometimes, without even manifesting it sometimes, your life can literally change like that completely. And even though it's so hard sometimes, when we're so in love with our twins and we just want to be with them, and we're like, okay, we're no longer codependent, we're very independent, we're in our mission, we're just getting on with life, but we're still waiting, but we're not sitting and physically waiting, we're 8 of Cups and we're going on with our lives, but you know, our heart's still waiting, and we still have our arms open, like, whenever you're ready to come back with the full 100%. And then you end up focusing on that too much and not focusing on yourself as much, or not focusing on actually what's right in front of you. Like, what's right in front of you right now. And I feel so guided to share this story, because I know that so many of the feminines and masculines have been going through some really, really horrific stuff recently. And sometimes during that, we end up falling into old patterns and old cycles of just focusing on 1 or 2 or 3 of the same negative things, and not actually paying attention to what's right in front of us. The fact that we're even breathing, the fact that we have food, the fact that we have clothes on our back, the fact that the sun's shining, the fact that we don't have to deal with tornadoes or tsunamis or war, and that we can actually walk out of the house and not have the threat of getting shot or stabbed straight away, or the fact that even as a feminine, if you are a feminine in a female body, the fact that you're able to even work, like, that is such a fucking blessing. The amount of females who aren't allowed to work or have any type of opinion or speak their truth in any capacity, please just be more grateful. Please. I know this is supposed to be a card reading, but I'm so guided to just talk about how much you guys need to continue grounding yourself. And I say this every single day, but as I'm looking at these cards, you've got 10 of Wands, you've got Knight of Swords. Oh gosh. Oh, this feels so heavy. As I was saying at the beginning, you guys you've been going through a lot of turmoil in your headspace, like so much, similar to the 9 of Swords energy, which a lot of you have been going through, where you're literally unable to sleep, you're unable to think straight, because you've literally got 101 different things going on in your head. Like, I want to say like a typical Aquarian, like I do, like, you literally have had so much going on in your head, from the journey you're taking, where you're at. You've been questioning the 3D reality, like, is this even real? Why is this happening? If I've done this, then why is this not coming forth? It's just and all the massive changes as well. Some of you haven't been going fully into your trust and making the changes that your soul and your higher self have been guiding you to do, because you've still been in that scarcity mindset. You've still been going into the fear mindset. You've still been like, I want to be loved, I want to be touched, I want to have fun, I want to go and do this, I want this with this person, why are they not coming forth? Oh, F it then, I'll just go off with this person. But actually, I can't really do that, because all I'm thinking about is this person. Why can't I just get what I want? It's been a lot of back and forth with the ego, being selfish. And you can be selfish in so many different ways. You can be selfish in very good ways, looking after yourself, your own healing, figuring out your own self-worth, where you actually want to go in life. And then there's the negative side, or the dark side, the black and white, the duality of the selfishness, where it's like, I want this person to do this at this time, on this date, now. And it's like, in your headspace, you're coming to that end of the cycle where you're just gonna get rid of so much of this shit that's just going on in your head, so much of this negative self-talk, so much of this back and forth with, you're saying one thing like, I want to manifest, like literally, I'm reading a positive affirmation that's on my window. I'm manifesting that I will always chase my dreams regardless of who is in my life. So you feminines could be saying something like that, whether it's to yourself, whether it's to other people in the spiritual community, or whether it's to your friends and family, which I feel like some of you are proper getting in your Queen of Swords energy, like, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and it doesn't matter what they're doing, because you know what, I'm better off, blah, blah, blah. Like, your ego is fully in control in those moments. And you'll say that you want to manifest chasing your dreams with whoever's in your life. But then half an hour later, when you're by yourself at home and you randomly put on the TV or a YouTube video and you see a couple walking hand in hand, then suddenly you're haterade. You're drinking that haterade and you're just like, oh, I can't believe they're together and I don't have this. You know what? I can't do anything. I hate myself. I don't want to do anything without this person. I can't chase my dreams without them. They are my dreams, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, you're saying one thing and then you're saying a complete opposite thing straight away. And you guys are just going to be coming to the end of that. Like, your brain's about to explode. Like, it's literally just like, so many of you have been having so many massive headaches and migraines because your brain's been so overwhelmed with downloads from spirit, with all this spiritual healing, with everything that's going on in the spiritual realms, with all the energies you've been feeling in the 3D. And then on top of that, your own back and forth cycles that your ego is just, it's just been battling you again and again and again. And then on top of that, there's been so many other things that have been coming up that you've had to revisit, that you haven't wanted to, because you still haven't healed fully. And I know that's the last thing you want to hear. Because in your head, your ego right now is just like, I've done everything I need to do. If you'd done everything you need to do, you wouldn't be watching this video. If you'd done everything you need to do, you wouldn't be in these low vibrations. If you'd done anything you need to do, you would be fully in your mission already. You wouldn't even be watching twin flame videos. Like, it's just so much mental conflict, but you guys are really cutting that, you're just cutting out that shit from your headspace, because it's just, you've done enough of the self-sabotage within your own psyche. And trying to navigate through these emotions and heal the things that need to be healed, and only actually pay attention to focusing on what's important, because we think so many thoughts every single day, and majority of these thoughts are just the worst ones for us. So you guys are just cutting out so much of that shit. Genuinely. But Spirit is bringing up the selfishness again. Some of your battles in your head that you're starting to end have still been on the issue of selfishness, because some of you have found it hard to focus on yourself. Really, really hard. And trust me, I know. And FYI, I can see 29 minutes on my clock, so if this video randomly cuts out halfway through, there'll be a part 2 in the description. So many of you have found it hard to actually focus on yourself and be selfish in the best way possible. Because so many of us divine feminines are so used to giving and giving and giving and giving naturally. And then we've been conditioned that we always have to give even more to overcompensate for certain situations that we don't like, which isn't the case, and we've had to learn that lesson as hard as it has been. And some of us still haven't learned that lesson. There are some of you who are definitely still going to be reliving some of these cycles because you still can't quite just look at your own direction, your own path. Because it's a really hard thing to navigate in your headspace with, okay, I love this person, they're the love of my life. I love them unconditionally. I accept them. I forgive them. That hopefully they forgive me. I'm talking to them telepathically all the time. We're always in union in the 5D, in the spiritual realm. We have to just sort out our own shit until we can manifest 3D union again, etc., etc. So a lot of the time, the decisions and the thoughts on actions that you guys are thinking about have still been based on this union coming together. Wow, that was such a big response. Sometimes when I say the message is literally verbatim for what Spirit's telling me and I don't put my own flair on it, their responses are just so loud. But some of you have still been taking all the actions and overthinking, should I move? Should I go to this place? Should I go in this direction with my career? Should I go out on that date with the guy from the coffee shop who's always smiling at me and I think we've got a good vibe and we could just actually have a nice conversation? It would be nice to flirt once in a while. Or should I get dressed up and go out dancing with my girls? Or should I go on that holiday in a few months' time with people from my building because I think it might be good for me to push myself out my comfort zone? And you keep overthinking all of these different things, all of these different offers. Because some of you have found it so hard to just say yes to things for yourself. So many of you have still been, oh, okay, I'm going to do this because then if I do this, then I'm in the right place at the right time and I can just, be completely open for my twin flame to come back to me. Like if I just stay here, they'll know where I'm at. And trust me, I've been there. I have been there. Completely. Up until probably about 2-3 weeks ago. I've been there for the last 4 months. Just wanting to stay in a certain situation, stay in a certain location. And it's like, one of the things that my twin said to me that at the time I found it really hard to accept because this was recently after we went into separation. And it was more my ego found it hard to accept, but my heart already knew that they love me so much, they just want me to be happy and I want the same for them. But one of the things SoulDeep said to me was that, Nini, I hope you really start to focus on yourself and your own happiness. And at the time I was like, my happiness is you. So like, why can't you just come back to me? Spirit's talking a lot. Sorry, my twin is talking a lot to me because they can hear me talking about them. That was one of the hardest things to accept from an egotistical point. But my heart instantly knew that I had to find my own happiness. I had been trying to find my own happiness for a while, and we'd already gone through the whole ordeal of me resisting so much in the beginning, them being so open, then us getting together, then them resisting and me being open, them wanting me to be codependent on them because they wanted to be my savior, because my twin SoulDeep wanted to be my savior and has been my savior for many, many lifetimes. And then me falling into that and being like, yeah, I'm codependent on you because you want me to be, and this is amazing, and la la la. And then going through the phase of, I can't be codependent on you anymore. I need to find my own strength, my own power, my own something, because I can't just keep spending every day literally only thinking about you like I have done so well. Like a lot of us feminines have done so well, because we're so used to just give, 100% always thinking about the other person, never really thinking about ourselves, blah, 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 that whole ordeal. So it has been really hard for some of you feminines to take the actions and steps for yourselves, because it's what you and your soul really want, just for you. That's been one of the biggest struggles and stresses in your head, because for some of you, I mean, obviously this is for the feminines who are still in separation physically in the 3D, even though the 3D is an illusion, you know what I mean. It's been like, it's really, really fucking hard to tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna change my job and go traveling for 6 months because this person isn't calling me back and they haven't spoken to me in 2 years. And I've sat here and I've waited and they haven't shown up, so now I'm going to go traveling. But then you'll still fight yourself back and forth, because you're like, oh my gosh, I bet if I get on that plane, then that's the day they're going to come back to me. Oh my gosh, I bet if I go off to this place for 3 months, they'll start circling around in their car, and I would normally be standing outside every single night reading my book, but I'm going to be in a different country, and what if I miss out on this? And then you're still putting yourself on hold. You're still putting your life on hold for this other person, waiting for them to come back, which just defeats the purpose, because it's hard to be selfish. It is really fucking hard for a lot of us. It's a fucking struggle, which is why I'm swearing so much, because I know I've found it so hard to actually just focus on me. I'm so used to giving to every person all the time, and even though it's always exhausted me energetically, as an empath, I pick up on everything like a freaking sponge, and it's like my twin has been my reflection, the complete and utter divine reflection, to show me like I need to actually look at myself more than I have ever before. And it's so hard sometimes, because sometimes when you're in these hermit phases and you really just need to go into your cocoon and heal so much and cut out all of this bullshit negative self-talk, and actually in your headspace become the positive, high vibrational manifester that you really divinely are, it's not easy to get there. For a lot of us, we only think about our place in other people's lives rather than just our place in our own life. So I'm so exhausted from all this heavy energy that I know you feminines are going through, but I'm also so happy that you guys are going to be cutting out so much of that bullshit. And I really keep hearing the selfishness again and again. Like, you guys are finding it very hard to just focus on you for what you want. Don't make plans for yourself based on the idea that somebody is going to be in it. Don't do it. Because all you'll end up doing is getting yourself into situations that you might not necessarily like, and then you'll end up building up more resentment and more resistance, because you could go to Australia on a random visa for a year, and you may plan to go there because you know your twin's there, and then you may end up never meeting them, but then you could still have a great time anyway, and then it could be like, oh, everything happens for a reason, which it does, and I went there for this person, but then I met an amazing person, and now we have a family and we've moved to Hawaii, and it's fantastic, la 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 la. But for some of you, you're going to go to that Australia trip, and you're going to see your twin going around town with a whole bunch of different people, still ignoring your ass, Then you're going to get yourself into a job that you thought was great on paper, but it's actually destroying you and you absolutely hate it. Then you get stuck. You end up leaving out of your flat because it's a nightmare. The neighbors are a nightmare. And then you realize 6 months later, I'm in a different country for no reason apart from to come here to try and stalk or find, you know, the love of my life back. And they still ain't even calling me or texting me. Why am I here? And you guys don't want to end up in that situation at all. So I'm just like, whilst you guys are still clearing out all of this craziness in your head and mellowing yourself out, which I would say to definitely thank you, use essential oils when you're sleeping, especially lavender. It's so good for quieting down your mind, giving you that peace and tranquility. Spirit saying for a lot of you feminines, you should really be listening to some vibrational frequencies like 532 hertz, 528 hertz, miracle tones, love frequencies. Mellowing out for just like half an hour every night before you go to sleep, so you can quieten your mind down a bit more before you start doing so much more healing work in the spiritual realm, before you start doing all of these experiences with your twin in the spiritual realm, because it's like you're waking up exhausted because you're doing so much work in your 3D life when you're consciously awake, and then even more when you're asleep. So much more. But please, please, as hard as it is, keep refocusing. Every time you feel super selfish and you feel bad about it, look at what you feel bad about. Are you working on yourself? Are you working on your own mental health, emotional health, physical health? Are you doing stuff to make yourself feel good without the reliance of anybody else? Are you actually putting in the action and effort to chase your dreams? Or are you only chasing certain ideas and goals because you think it will be what your twin wants you to be, or because you think it will be what society wants you to be, or because you think it will get you to point A or point B, which will then lead you to be like, oh hey, look at me, I'm a queen, I've got all of this and you should want me because of XYZ. Make sure you're doing things for the right reasons, and the right reason will always be for your own self-happiness. Please don't make any actions based on the idea of somebody coming into your life, whether it's a twin or a certain mentor or a family member finally talking to you for the first time in 20 years. Like, please do it for you. I'm hearing that so loudly. Now we've got the Divine Feminine's heart space. For those of you who are very spiritually awake, who have been developing your abilities, clairvoyance, clairaudience, feeling people's energies, I'm sure you can feel how strong this Tower card is. Now, some of this is definitely dealing with the reflection of our twins. Because a lot of us feminines have been feeling our masculines' tower moments and dark energies they've been going through. But I really just want to hug all of you right now. For those feminines who have been messed around on, like been cheated on, or have ended up being in third party, four party situations sometimes, for those who have, their twins are in, whether you want to call it karmic relationships, or who have who are in other marriages, some with children, some without, uh, it's like your heart's opening up more. You're going through so many activations, and because you've had to relive and readdress some of these things that you thought you healed and you were convinced you healed, but you really hadn't, your heart, it's like that quote that I put up for the masculines a few weeks ago: you have to keep breaking your heart until it